Hi friends, and welcome to Starry Hilders, back to Eden Garden. It is spring, finally. And for those of you who are biting at the bit to get gardening, and you are really thinking, you know what, this back to Eden garden method, yes, this is what I want to do. I'm ready, I am ready. Well, let's get started because I'm going to walk you through just a real simple tutorial on how to get started in the back to Eden garden method. And I want to cut to the chase because there's a lot of misinformation out there on YouTube that really messes people up. And I just want to throw out there that the back to Eden garden method is simple. It reflects and mimics nature. There's not a lot of work involved. And the bottom line is, in order for it to work, we have to follow the recipe. And the recipe, my friends, is so easy. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do when implementing the back to Eden garden method, and it doesn't make any difference where you are or what stage you're at with your gardening or your garden, existing or nothing, no existence of a garden, you want to find a garden spot. Preferably a flat spot, preferably a spot that will allow plenty of sunshine, okay? And I did just have a question just a little while ago about implementing the back to Eden garden method on a terraced area. And actually we had dug this area up. You can see it's very sloped, and we implemented the back to Eden garden method here on that slope. Works perfect. Nothing gets washed away. You know, when you're reflecting nature, does the earth on a side of a mountain get washed away? No, it certainly doesn't. So you remember, it's mimicking nature. Very simple. So the first thing you want to do is find that garden area. So find that garden area, and I will point out, it doesn't make any difference if it is hard rock clay. It doesn't make any difference if you're going to set your back to Eden garden up on an area on your lawn. Okay? The other thing you don't have to worry about with that area that you are choosing for your back to Eden garden is tilling or digging anything up. Don't worry about it. Okay? Because then we're going to move to step number 2. Step number 2 is going to be taking cardboard or newspaper and laying it down on top of the ground that you want to be your back to Eden garden. Now, this is where there's some misinformation out there. Cardboard, newspaper, beautiful medium to start the back to Eden garden with. Why? Because cardboard actually creates a great environment for fungi and earthworms. In fact, earthworms love cardboard. They actually feed off of the glue. Oh, the glue is toxic. No, it isn't. Do your research and you will see that cardboard, paperboard, and newspaper are the perfect medium, again, to create that back to Eden garden. That's the first layer. And don't get drawn into the misinformation out there. There is some channels that are saying, oh, don't be doing the cardboard and don't be doing the newspaper. There's poison, there's inks. Okay, nothing colored. And remove the tape. But the rest of that information is incorrect. And the other thing is tarps. Why are you creating more work for yourself? If you start with a tarp to get rid of all your tenacious weeds and kill everything, what you're going to have to do is wait for the tarp to kill everything that is underneath that tarp. Then you're going to remove the tarp and bring your wood chips over to your area? That makes no sense. The back to Eden garden method is supposed to be reflecting nature. And what's happening in nature? Everything is layering on top of each other. So laying down a tarp is not reflecting nature. That's somebody's idea. That's man's idea. That's not going to work. So why create more work for yourself? If you start with the newspaper, you start with the cardboard, then you can immediately put on your first layer of organic compost. Now, see how that all happens? You lay on that first layer, and you can use chicken composted chicken manure, you can use composted rabbit manure. Just make sure that the manure source that you are using is properly composted and it's organic, and try to stay away from manure that is prone to seeds, like a cattle that has been eating alfalfa and rye and things that pass through the digestive system, and then when they poop, their manure is full of seeds, and then you're going to have a garden full of weeds. So make sure that composted manure for your first layer is going to be seed free and properly composted. The next layer then is going to be your wood chips. And I'm going to show you exactly what the wood chips should look like. Chips. And dirty wood chips just takes everything and just chips it up. This is the type of wood chips you want for your back to Eden garden. This is the perfect type of wood chip because of the various sizes. It's not too big, it's not uniform. There's a little bit of carbon, there's a little bit of nitrogen, there's that green brown mix, and that's what you get in something like this. And here's another pile of wood chips that I really want to point out, because this, my friends, is the ultimate wood chip pile that you dream of. Really, I get excited. I get excited about wood chip piles like this because I want you to look at this real closely. This is what makes the best wood chips for a garden. It's got everything. It's got the sticks. It's got pieces of bark. It's got stems. They're all different shapes and size, chipped up wood, and it's got the green, and it's got pine needles. Okay, now you get that. It's going to be a mixture of brown and greens, a little bit of twigs. It's going to be a hodgepodge. It is not going to look perfect. It's not going to be clean. It's not going to be large. We want that nitrogen-carbon balance. So what you just saw was a perfect description of the wood chips that you are going to be layering on top of that compost. And then your next layer is at least 2 to 4 inches. We recommend 6. The more, the merrier. But it's going to be your decomposed, fresh, aged wood chips. This is going to be that second layer. And you know what? If you get the layers messed up, who cares? Who cares? You can't get it wrong with this method. And then your final layer is going to be another dousing of wood chips, which is not going to be as decomposed as the layer underneath it. But you know what? Again, if you mess it up, don't worry. On top of that, you can do like what we do here. We fed the deer in this spot here, so they actually dropped their droppings here. Everything got pulverized. We didn't till up the garden from last year. We left in most of the plants because the plants have a root ball on it, and that is live, living, like a little rhizome sphere that is underneath the soil, and you don't want to tear that up. So we didn't disturb a lot of the plants that were in the ground. We just left them in there to live and cultivate and do their own thing. So when spring came, we would have all the fungi and the good bacteria and the earthworms already living in there. And then what we did is we just keep on piling on whatever compost that we can get. Now, do we need another layer of wood chips? At this point, we're not looking at adding any more wood chips, but each year you can add more wood chips, you can add more layers. But remember, it's all about not tilling and not doing anything. You don't need any equipment for this Back to Eden garden method. Forget about the tiller, forget about shovels, forget about digging, forget about being on your hands and knees. But that is the quick tutorial of how to get started 1, 2, 3.